Hi everyone, I'm Johnny, and today we're taking a look at The Wind Rises, a movie written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki and animated by Studio Ghibli. This film is one of many beautifully crafted and animated films to come out of the studio, but also one of their more atypical creations, which might not be for everyone. Like all Studio Ghibli movies, The Wind Rises is beautifully animated, with a beautiful soundtrack. It further has excellent English voice actors, with Joseph Gordon-Levitt voice acting the main character. Studio Ghibli is famous for fantastical and imaginative animated films, often completely detached from our reality. The Wind Rises, however, follows a fictionalized account of real Japanese aeronautical engineer Jiro Horikoshi and his life in Japan preparing for war. Jiro Horikoshi was the chief engineer for several Japanese fighter designs, notably the Mitsubishi Zero fighter and the A5M, the design of which will be the focus of the film. The film isn't focused on Japan's war in China or World War II. The film primarily takes place in the years leading up to the war, including Jiro's time at university and his early employment with aircraft manufacturer Mitsubishi. The film tries to capture aspects of pre-war Japan, including Japan during the Great Depression. Some of the more interesting scenes come from Jiro's travels to Germany. Japan was still playing catch-up with its aircraft industry in the 1930s and relied heavily on European engineers and expertise. Many liberties are taken with Jiro's character from the real world. He is presented as undaunted by his work. In reality, he worked himself sick and often had doubts about his work or leading other men. Much of Jiro's character development, unrelated to his work, is hinged on relationships outside of history, such as with his wife, sick with tuberculosis, or his fictional sister. Relationship development in the story is otherwise minimal. Jiro's character is devoted to his love for aircraft. His dreams of aircraft are where the viewer will be sucked back into the norm for Studio Ghibli. Dreams are an easy device for director Hayao Miyazaki to maximize his creativity and blend it with his own love for aircraft. Miyazaki further loved Italian and Caproni aircraft, and made Italian aircraft designer Giovanni Caproni a recurring engineer, along with his designs, who visits Jiro in his dreams. Aircraft featured in these dreams include a Caproni CA-3 World War I bomber, a CA-48 airliner, and most spectacularly a CA-60, a prototype 9-wing flying boat designed to transport 100 passengers across the Atlantic. Studio Ghibli was named after a Caproni aircraft, the Caproni CA-309, or Ghibli, the name meaning hot desert wind. Ultimately, you might not learn a great deal true to history about Jiro Horikoshi other than that he was a brilliant man dedicated to his craft. The film does touch on his anti-war leanings, but they're not stressed. Jiro expressed and wrote in his diary that he disagreed with much of the war and the Japanese government. However, Jiro also wrote of how proud he was of his creations, even as they were used in war. In his writings and interviews, he often seemed stuck between pride and shame. One of Jiro's famous quotes was, "All I wanted to do was to make something beautiful." This quote sums up the tragic theme of the movie, which is the corruption of beauty and brilliance. Think of the physicist creating the atomic bomb in America, for example. During times of war, scientific institutions are always leveraged for war, and the individual scientists, part of these institutions, are often dragged along, with little say, and sometimes little understanding of how their work will be used. Jiro Horikoshi's creations no doubt contributed to a monstrous aggressive war, and if you want to condemn this film or man because of it, you can. It's not unfair. However, Miyazaki's objective in this movie was not to glorify the creation of these weapons of war, but to showcase yet another forgotten casualty of war, the creative, passionate, and beautiful talents of men, which could have served peace. Jiro did survive the war and go on to participate in the design of the YS-11, a civilian airliner. Jiro passed away in 1982 at the age of 78. Alright everyone, I'm Johnny. Thank you for watching. If you're interested in animation or World War II history, but not too sticky on documentary-style facts, do give The Wind Rises a watch. It's a slow but beautiful movie. like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah if you want to support the channel. And we will see you next time.